Hello, butterflies. I was liking to take a moment in order to share with you my Samhain adventures. Samhain was super duper awesome, and it worked out perfectly. This has been the best Samhain I have ever had in my life. The first Samhain was awesome, but this one tops it. On the 30th, I celebrated Samhain specifically because I knew everybody that would be involved was busy on the 31st. This was a smart idea, as everyone except for the most excited person was able to show up, and it was quite amazing. Even though I was super jittery and running late with things, everything worked out because I gave it a very large time frame. And I'm not excessively worried about people being late. But, so, with my circle that I have created among my friends, we had 5 people altogether that showed up. There were only 2 people that didn't show up, and I think it is awesome that everyone did come, because that was the absolute best ritual I have ever had in my life. My friends completely understood when I was nervous and jittery because I had never hosted a ritual before. It was a lot of fun, and I seriously enjoyed it. I had a table set up outside where we had our altar, and they had brought a bunch of things that I didn't even realize we'd need. And I had a bunch of things as well that I thought we would need, and I completely just put everything out there. We set up the quarters on the table. We had candles everywhere because it's Samhain and we're supposed to have the light going for the spirits or lighting their way. I was wearing my You Must Shine On shirt. It was very lovely. And my pentacle necklace, which I previously thought was missing. I'm very happy to have found it. And we cast a circle. It took like 5 minutes for me to get everyone together to do it, but we managed to cast a circle. I had apparently lost nerve over the years. And after we all cast a circle as a group, going around and around and around, the next step was to call the cordials and cleanse. So Abby and Makara decided to cleanse the circle. They used sage, I believe, and it smelled amazing. I love the way that smelled so much. But they walked around and cleansed the circle while I went from place to place calling the quarters. And I do not know why I'm so terribly comfortable with calling the quarters, but opening it and casting the circle are very jittery things for me. I feel completely... I think it's just because my energy was a little wonky at first. And I am very glad that people helped and that everyone was understanding of everything. And after we did all that, we went on to, I believe the next up was grounding and centering, although I think that only a couple of us needed to do that, as some of them were particularly powerful. However, I definitely needed to ground and center, and that is normally a part of rituals, and was. After it appeared that everyone was ready, I took the cup of water from the water side of the altar, and I held it above my head, and made a toast to Samhain, the ideas of Samhain, to the spirits, to the new year. I didn't exactly say it poetically, as I was extremely jittery. I did this on the 30th, so that was my Samhain celebrations were amazing. After making this toast, I put the water back. Well, no, I dumped some of the water on the ground because it's an offering, and I set it back on the table. And then we began our ritual portion of the ritual. In that, we lit all of the candles, and that was so beautiful. After all of the candles were lit, that was so amazing. We chanted, and then we called upon. I believe we had a collective silence for the dead, and then before we started passing around pretzels, the rest of us decided to start burning incense because of protection purposes and various other things, and it smelled amazing the entire time because we had so much incense burning. They had brought multitudes of endless amounts of incense, and I love the way that stuff smells. I'm thinking it would be really nice if I could do some daily rituals outside as well. But not really a requirement now, is it? Either way, I will probably do further videos on those thoughts after I completely collect them. After the incense burning, I had a bag of pretzels. Whoever had the bag of pretzels would take a pretzel and then speak of their personal dead, and then eat it and pass the bag of pretzels along. I thought this was particularly beautiful. It was originally meant to be bread, but we were out of bread. Luckily, we had stale pretzels in the pantry, and that went particularly well, and I quite enjoyed listening to it, and everyone seemed to enjoy that. The next step was supposed to be individual honourings of the dead. However, that did not necessarily work out quite the way that we expected, because no one really had anything individual they wanted to do. I asked everyone, and no one did. We all just kind of stood there and were like, I don't know. Either way, then we just moved on, since none of us had anything to do. I mean, I could have done something, but honestly, I'm not going to do all that without everybody else wanting to do anything for their own personal dead. I do things for my cat every single year, and should anyone else die, they will be honoured every Samhain. Also, after this, we chanted some more to bring him back. Chanted more, turning it from the more deadly aspects to the new year, and it all seemed to flow together extremely well. I really like the poetry that I created for this, and I unintentionally made nearly the entirety of everything that I wrote rhyme, because I was trying to make the chants rhyme, and I was sort of writing them all out together. It was really funny, because apparently once you get to a chanting mindset, you continue chanting, and it's actually extremely funny. After we decided to chant, we got out. I made a variation just in case we only had one deck of tarot cards. However, we had runes and tarot cards and oracle decks, just enough for absolutely everybody in the circle. We had some of us had spare ones to share with other people, and we actually had one extra set. It was cool that was a possibility, and knowing that there was one extra set means that the people who were unable to arrive would still be able to do this ritual in upcoming years. Because of this, we actually managed to do something really beautiful. We each did a singular divination for our upcoming year, using tarot cards, oracle decks, and runes. Each one, of course, I had a tarot deck. My friend Abby had the oracle deck. The new person who was more used to runes used my friend Makara's runes and my rune book, because she's used they had that rune book, but they did not have the rune set to go with it, whereas I did. Or they did not use it, they used Kara's. Kara's probably particularly more powerful as they're made from bone, whereas mine are made from clay. So that would definitely give them more of a boost. It seems interesting that. And then we went around and we were in such a relaxed environment. We were sharing our results with each other, unless we felt uncomfortable with it. A couple people did, because they didn't exactly get good readings, and some of us got amazing readings. My reading was Justice, which, if anyone's familiar with the idea of the Chinese lion dogs, that probably will come to you quite interestingly. And Chinese lion dogs are creatures that catch small spirits and contains them so that they can't grow. You purify them. And that was my reading for the year. It was a purification. I'm going to find small things and purify them, or that general idea will come up somehow within my next year. Who knows quite yet, but I will keep that in mind as an action for me to try doing throughout the year, as that sounds quite fun. Also, an interesting thing to note, we decided to, I don't actually remember what I was about to say, but that's okay. We can move on to the next topic. After we did this reading, we cleaned up the cards, put them away, because of course we don't want the cards getting angry or anything like that. We then followed this up by going and passing around paper and pens. We wrote down a wish, a desire to come to fruition within the next year, and then we folded up our paper and burned them, and used the ground to put out the embers. It was actually rather funny, because we just okay, light that paper. Oh gosh, it's getting on my fingers. Good thing it's just dirt. I had recently hoed the dirt right before the ritual, right before we even started, because I knew that we probably needed soft dirt to walk on. And the Arizona ground is not soft, nor is it safe, so hoeing it before actually walking on it barefoot's a good idea. However, me and probably one other person were barefoot throughout that. I probably also should have hoed throughout the extent of the end of the circle, so that we could see it. But, of course, I didn't think of that, and not to mention that it felt nicer on our feet. One person had to open a door in order to go get his shoes. It was actually really funny. So, we quite enjoyed our night. After we made wishes, we moved on to the cakes and ale portion that didn't involve cake or ale. Neither were involved. All that was involved was brownies, music, and my didgeridoo. We sat there listening to Samhain music. I had about 96 Samhain songs that we could listen to. And I sat there relaxing, playing my didgeridoo. We all ate brownies. My friend had brought brownies. Cheyenne brought brownies. It was amazing. I think Cheyenne and Bailey made them. It was a rather enjoyable experience. And we wound up doing this spectacularly interesting thing. In it, we started discussing our individual problems with our practices and things going on in their lives, and people started coming up with ideas to help each other. while we're just sitting there around this table and enjoying ourselves, eating brownies and listening to good music. So people started doing spell bottles and the vials, and it was actually rather interesting to watch them, because people were like, okay, I'm having this problem, and then people would chime in, it's like, well, there's this way to get rid of it, and there's this way to get rid of it, and there's this ultimate safe way to get rid of it. Let's help you. Let's start doing things right now, since we have a bunch of materials with us that we didn't actually need in the ritual, but we definitely can enjoy now during Cakes and Ale time. And so, of course, we're a bunch of witches sitting around discussing spells, and it was quite a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun anyway. And people started, there were other people in the house that weren't involved in the ritual. However, some of them, one was ex-Wiccan, another one frequently participates in duo rituals with me. They came to our circle, chatted with us, ones just enjoyed the times with us, and they would leave and it would be fine. We'd be opening doors every time we had to go and get anything that we forgot, but we had remembered most of it, and we should probably try making sure we have everything we need for each individual section beforehand, and I was trying to. However, I was extremely jittery in the moment that my friends showed up and I wasn't ready yet. I kind of sort of just and then we opened the circle, and that was a very beautiful Samhain ritual. I had a lot of fun, and everyone is looking forward to having another one of these, and that means I have to start getting ready. I'm going to try writing a full moon ritual. I'm going to try making it so on dark moons, people can come over and meditate with me. Dark moons is giving back to the earth rather than celebrating. So on dark moons, I'm thinking that we should probably meditate and just come outside and meditate. We should bring things to be comfortable and things like that. And then for full moons, normally those are for resolving things with the self. I'm not sure whether or not we should do full moon rituals. However, I will give it a try. I will try writing a group one. My individual ones are for self meanings. I need to make this more group applicable and not boring, and things that would keep people entertained and moving. And so full moon ritual I will have to work on before we could actually do it. Luckily, a dark moon is the next thing coming up, as the full moon was a few days before Halloween. But funny thing, my friend Cara birthday was on Halloween, and my friend Abby's was on the full moon. And that really wound up being extremely funny to me. I do not know whether they noticed or not. Either way, I was enjoying that so much. And Samhain was a blast, ultimately. Everyone helped me clean up after we opened the circle, and I could release the quarters, but opening the circle, I was just too jittery for that. Even though I had been relaxing after releasing the quarters, I don't know why I was being so self-conscious, just exquisitely self-conscious. I'm not normally that self-conscious. I think it's just because it was the first time that I was hosting a group ritual, and I'm probably going to continue doing so. Actually, that's the general plan. I definitely need to prepare for Yule more than a week ahead of time. I need to make Yule something that we can comprehensively just work on. I need to bring it about so that I'm working on this regularly, so that I can make sure that we can keep getting together. So I will call everybody to join me for meditation on the next dark moon. That one should be easy. All I have to do is get a meditation track or nice music for meditation specifically. Binaural beats will probably work the best. Maybe bring some blankets. that's the next thing occurring, but I will most likely work very shortly on that one, and then move on to the full moon before I'm even done, before the dark moon even occurs, because the full moon will take a lot of work to get ready for. I am extremely excited. I'm very happy that Samhain turned out so amazing, and we will definitely be able to explore the differences between different types of rituals. The celebratory rituals being for the Sabbats, and the reflective and giving back to the other ones being for the S-Bats. So it should ultimately become an extremely regular, amazing thing to do. I'm excited. So, I will also be contacting people beforehand to ask them about what they want to do. I mean, if they have any ideas, before I even just go off and assume that we all want to meditate, because I normally like meditating on the dark moon. I'm just overly excited. Also, the day of, since Samhain was the day before, the day of Halloween, I dressed up as a princess, an elvish princess. I had full-on ears and a beautiful dress. My mom handmade that dress years ago for herself for the Renaissance Festival, and I felt like a Renaissance princess. I had a tiara and everything, and Mom said I could keep the tiara. It was so happy. And then we went over and celebrated birthdays, since I obviously mentioned Abby and Makara's birthdays were on the full moon and Samhain. So we couldn't just, so everyone showed up. We had cupcakes and mashed potatoes and chicken, and we had a nice fire, we had s'mores, we walked in and out and talked about various things, and it's just wonderful, and I'm glad my friends are very inclusive of me, and that's all I really worry about. I'm happy right now, and I think I always will be about this. I am definitely adding this to my good things box. In fact, I should probably go get it and add these to it. I just need to. This was absolutely splendid. And I hope that everyone is able to make it to upcoming rituals. It would be a lot of fun. I would definitely prepare a lot more than I did this time, and hopefully I will not be as nervous this next time. That way I can actually just focus on this. So, it will be of massive importance, and I will definitely keep up with this. The circle is absolutely amazing, and I am very happy that everything went excessively well for Samhain, and I am probably going to continue doing these on off dates if I find out anyone has plans. That way everything works out for everyone. So we can massively have a mass collection of rituals that we just do every single time. It'll be fun. So it can work out quite perfectly. I think I'm probably going to note everything and put it in the Book of Shadows for the group, and I will continue making everything so wonderful, and I am very excited and happy about this. I don't actually think I mentioned that I'm actually keeping record of all of this. Either way, I'm happy, and I'm very happy that the circle continued on to be amazing. Sadly, I did not get any pictures because I was so focused on the ritual. So, I guess I was living life more than thinking about YouTube or Facebook at the time. I do have pictures of my elvish princess costume, and that is on my Facebook page, which I will leave a link to such in below after I post them. So, everything is public on the page, don't worry. Blessed be, my dear butterflies.